here when she talks about obedience, she's talking about very serious matters, because when it comes to divination, when it comes to divinity, there's no questions, there aren't any reasons. As I said to you, that the calling itself, because you know nothing about why and the wherefore of it. So therefore, you just have an obedience, you accept it. Where's the humility come? What is humility? Humility is the acceptance without your attachment to who you are, where you are, what you are, whether you have any relation to this or not. All these questions literally are non-existent. They do not have a standing, they are not there. That is pure humility, and it comes spontaneously, naturally, when you're aligned. And aligned, Akash, is just when you just let go. You let go. You're not holding yourself, you're not dictating anything, you've completely and totally silenced your mind, you've silenced all reason, okay? And you're letting yourself totally free from all this. And in that particular state, you will be humble, open to whatever happens. You have no command of that. That's pure humility, okay? So it practices. Has to be practiced when you are born in a family which has for generations done everything that we have talked about. They've gone against it. They have not followed what we have been talking about.
Sorry?
They haven't followed anything we have talked about so far.
Correct.
They've been exactly opposite or antipode.
But what do you mean by the word it has to be practiced?
Yeah, it has to be
because in my own experience, I've shared with you my journey or whatever it is, that how I used to see the world and think about other people. But I wouldn't say I am at a point where I have totally stilled my mind or quieted reason. But at least I think I can say that I don't see any differentiation in any of the people I meet. Does not depend at all on their social status or this thing. I see almost everyone as the same. So I've reached that point. But I did not practice it as such. I think it just came to me, while I think after, meditating I don't know what exactly got me there, but it's a part of my journey. It's not like I deliberately ever tried it or practiced it. It's just that I started feeling that and seeing everybody as the same now.
No,
so,
actually,
yeah,
Akash,
or am I getting confused with something?
You're not getting confused, Akash. You're very right, because the first time that it ever happened with you, right, is way back when you were very, very young, okay? And maybe 4 years or 3 years old.
I think when everybody is young, they don't differentiate among people anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
They see, they don't know, right?
So, if we want to draw parallels here, we can draw innumerable parallels. But what she's actually talking about practicing is to know the importance, to know the relevance, to know the importance, to know why it has to be inculcated if you do not do it. If you do not...
But can somebody actually force themselves to inculcate something like that?
No, because see, if they're constantly arrogant, if they're constantly...
Correct.
disobedient...
But I understand you saying that, see, we know that being arrogant is, let's say, not a good thing, or, however you want to describe it, but arrogance doesn't just... You cannot force yourself to not be arrogant. To not be arrogant, you have to first start feeling that there is nothing, because arrogance comes from somewhere, right? You either feel that you deserve more respect or more something from others.
Yeah, because
you consider yourself as more than others or something, right?
No, because arrogance stems from fire.
Yeah, somewhere. But
Agni.
so you cannot. I mean, how can you in order to not be arrogant, you have to first stop believing that you are more or less than anybody else. Because see, if you consider yourself less than anybody else, then you will definitely be more than someone else also.
Yeah.
It's only when you consider everybody else the same and yourself the same, which is what I said, which is what I think, how I feel in a lot of ways these days. I mean, for some time now. So you cannot, can you really force yourself to not be arrogant, or is it just something that you keep
No, but the only thing you can
waiting
do,
and focusing and then you
the
get
only
there?
thing you can do is not to repeat it again.
Okay.
And if you have the ability to see that it's coming, that you have been feeling uneasy and feeling irritable, little signs that you're irritable. Irritation leads to anger. Anger leads to
Agreed.
arrogance. So, and complete and total disregard for anything anybody has to do or say or, contribute. You have a disregard for that. Intolerant. These are the various words. So, we have understood that these are not good virtues to have.
Yes, agreed.
So, practice is necessary. Now you understand why practice is necessary. Because if you practice this in small ways, and it starts with the likes and dislikes.
So, is it something like when we say that if we keep practicing it, we will slowly start believing also, like it works both ways, right? Like if I consider everybody equal, I won't be arrogant. Similarly, if I try not to be arrogant, maybe I'll also start believing that everybody is the same.
No, you do
kind
believe.
of.
You do believe. Just
I do. But I'm just saying by practicing. So that is just another way to reach that point.
Because you see,
that part I can understand.
We can't talk for anybody else.
Yeah.
We can
even for confidence. I'm sorry, I don't know if it is a good example, but like you always say that even if you're not confident, you act like you are confident, and slowly you start believing in yourself.
Yeah.
So maybe it is something similar.
Yeah, something similar.
Right?
Because this practice actually induces you.
Correct.
It pushes you to consider just the other side of the coin, the other viewpoint, and then you start to understand the need to put it into your regimen, into what you do daily. So you bring it into. See, everybody's having tea. Now, you alone want coffee. No, that's a particular like, a particular dislike that you're imposing on the person who's going to serve it to you. So therefore...
If somebody else is serving, then
you just take whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. So these are the kinds of tolerances that you bring into. And how do you bring the tolerance? Through practice. Because you know that whether it is a beverage which calls...
it's like, that term is fake it till you make it. It is something like that. I'm sorry, it's a very base thing, but I think that's what it that is.
No, but it's your way of understanding.
Yes.
So it's perfect. So then the third one she talks about is to detach yourself from worldly desires. Now she's getting very close to three things here. First is detachment. Second is world. Right? And then the third, very important, is desire. Right? Now, and she says it grows.
But only worldly desires.
Not just worldly desires. Actually, desires grow. No matter whether
are there any desires other than worldly desires?
Of course.
That's my obvious question.
Of course, it is.
Like what is...
So you desire...
Like what is the desire that is not worldly?
When you crave for a particular kind of a thing that you suddenly must have.
But then that's again, like if I'm craving for food of certain kind.
Desire.
But then that's a worldly desire only, right?
No, but that's also a desire, whether world or not, it is a
but
desire.
But then is there any such thing as a desire that is not worldly? That's what I mean. See, I'm sorry if the question does not make sense. I'll tell you my background in asking this question is even someone who's practicing meditation and these practices, he desires he also desires to reach a point in life, right? Like he desires to be desireless,
Yeah.
but that is also a desire. So
I know.
that might not be a worldly desire.
It might not be, but you see, there again, Akash, will come down to understand what is the world. The world is what you perceive outside of yourself.
Got
And
it.
who's yourself? Yourself is the I.
Agreed.
Okay, now we come down to that. Where it's a capital I, it's got nothing to do with E. Okay? Alright. Then we come down to, we've done the world, we've done detachment. Detachment literally means do not put yourself number one any time. Always have the other, particularly when you're in society. Always attend to everybody else. The last but not the least is you.
I don't think I agree with that.
Last but not the least is you. Suppose,
Yeah, but why last? If everybody's same, if I'm same as everybody else, then why should I make sure that I be the last every time?
No, but you're not last.
Like I should not have a preference to
No, but
for myself.
No,
but
you can.
you know what I mean.
No, I'll tell you what. This, you can easily come over this. Suppose you're asking people to come for dinner, right? And you know that you cannot wait to eat food because habitually you have it at a particular time, right? And when they
No,
come,
I can.
and when they come, they might talk
Can I
about things,
practice?
and
Right.
then generally get to eat. By which time it's too late for you. So therefore, you eat before they come. No harm.
But when
But
they're here, I should not be.
No.
It should not be like that. They're sitting here and I'm eating and
No, but
not serving
no,
them. That's what you're saying.
no. You eat much before they come.
Okay.
Okay. So therefore, I'm only giving you an example as to how to detach.
Okay, I mean, I'll tell you what my understanding was for this and why I was asking is, I mean, I agree that we should not have worldly desires and being selfish. So we should not want to be, let's say, rich or want to be possessive of something. Like, that should not maybe not drive us in a way. But if it comes to us, then it should not be like that, oh no, I have to be desireless, so I will not take this also, right? If something comes to us, we can accept it, right?
Yeah, you accept
Yes.
it and then do whatever it has to be done
Yeah.
with it. Yeah, true. You see, I mean, those are getting into particulars of
Yeah.
non-self.
Like these are things I've thought about a lot, so I'm sorry
No,
when you're talking about them.
Akash, it's all
Yeah.
non-self. Let's
Yeah.
keep to the self at
Okay.
the moment, yeah. So therefore, how to get into because she's talking about the soul, the
Right.
7 stages of the soul, okay?
Right.
Now, then she says that when these desires are not met with, right? And they are allowed to come and go, like everything which is worldly, which is, of the outer body, externalized happenings. These are completely and totally unattached, unobserved, unrelated happenings which you just have to let them come, let them go. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Happy to have had your presence, etc. So therefore, you allow them because see, when you are in a nature park, for instance, and you have a very cloudy sky, right? You await the passing of the clouds. The clouds just come, then they go. The wind takes care and then they just take the clouds away. So instead of getting anxious, oh my God, I actually came down to sit in the park and here it's already, so cloudy. So therefore, you do not question it beyond a particular point. And similarly here, you surrender. You surrender to the will of God, who is the only one, by the way, who has any will. We don't have a will of God because we are instruments. Okay? I mean, these are things which you've got to understand right in the beginning. Yeah.
That is
So you surrender to the will which is God's will. And He's the only one who actually makes everything happen. And He is not the doer. Believe it or not, He is not the doer. It's His might and His power and His Yoga Maya. It is called Yoga Maya, which is very beautifully explained by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita.
Right.
So, yeah, it is the Yogamaya which actually has mighty, mighty power, and it moves the unmovable. Which is why, let's come to Hanuman. That's how Hanuman actually lifts the
Hmm.
Sanjeevani and brings it for Lakshmana. And that's how Krishna, in his Yogamaya, lifted the mountain on the tip of his finger. Right? And these are things which will be very explicable if you tell them those narratives. And then the child will understand immediately that Yogamaya is a strength, is a pure Shakti in you, which is the mother of all creation. Okay? So what happens, it surrenders its will to the God's will. Then the fifth stage, it relinquishes even the sense of virtue, no longer clinging to good work. So therefore, when you literally surrender to the God's will, you just let go of every single thing. You have nothing to contribute by way of being the individuation, the first person pronoun I. Okay? And here we'll actually add that it is also the third person, I, or he, or they, or she. But when it becomes that, T capital, it actually infers and refers to the Lord, to God. Okay? Or to Deva, Devi, in whichever language you prefer. So, when you do this, then what happens is you're not clinging. Those are not the walking stick or the crutch that you lean on to navigate. You actually have no clinging to anything, good, bad, ugly, whatever. You just go with it. So it relinquishes all this. Now the sixth stage is when you are abandoning. You abandon, self-conscious of holiness. You do not question who you are, whether you're sacred or divine or whatever. You accept yourself as you are. Having come into the theatre, you know that there must be somebody, some force, some might, something which will actually put you on here. You're a puppet. You're literally, so being worked, right? Being made to do things. Because, you're an instrument. Unless somebody works you, the instrument doesn't work, isn't it? So, it is God's will that works the instrument to get its own work done. So far I think it's very easy to understand this. Then, the seventh stage is when the soul is annihilated, emptied of self. Now, do you understand this? This is actually the soul getting annihilated. Now, the soul is a representative entity that mirrors the actual absolute consciousness. If you read Nisarga Tattva, you read Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi very intently with a lot of sincerity to know who are you really, then you will find that this annihilation and emptying of the self alone makes you realize that you and the God are not separate. Okay? So then when you annihilate and empty the self, then you live in God, you live beyond virtue, you live beyond law or sacrament. There's nothing. You just move around with absolute authority. You are an authentic self at that point. Here, I'm just pausing for a little while because I did tell you about Andrew.
In the starting you had mentioned.
Yeah, in the starting I mentioned it. Andrew is talking about just this. So we further elucidate with the help of Margaret, who spoke much before Andrew ever even dawned on him that he could write a book, so many centuries later. Because she spoke about it in the 13th century. And she was hung. I mean, she was burnt at the stakes. So, for Porret, annihilation does not mean destruction, but radical transformation. Now, there's a large amount of difference between destruction and transformation, where the original source does not get interfered with. So, the ramifications, the aspects, right, and what is mistakenly attributed to the source being made the subject of conversations, subject of debates, subject of investigation, subject of even imbibing, and subject of education, which comes down to running away from who you really are. So what are your schools doing? They are instructing children absolutely with everything that needs not be, given to them. They've already been instructed because they are fractals from the kingdom of the Lord. I'm only using these biblical terms because
they're easier to understand.
Easier to understand, and she is actually part and parcel of this, coming from Belgium, right? So, the soul, what does the soul do? It ceases to act from its own will and becomes a transparent vessel of divine love. Now, in this state, the soul no longer strives for virtue. It simply is love, because God acts entirely within it. Yeah? I think this is very easy to understand, isn't it? Doesn't need any explanation here.